Of course, we should all be on Pacific time.
How about Central as a compromise?
Central.
That'll confuse everybody.
That,
That
that really throws everybody off, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm muting folks in anticipation.
Okay, what do you think? Should we get started?
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Sorry, but hold on. I'm new
That's
at
okay.
this. And
That's okay. I'm sure I'm going to do that in several spots here.
hello, welcome to the session. And we'll kick it over to Eric, who will introduce Wolfgang.
Oh, that's a twist. Okay, well, hey, yeah, welcome to the first of our special interest groups here at the 2021 3D-Con. I'm really pleased to introduce Wolfgang Sell. Wolfgang and Marianne Sell are among the world's foremost View-Master collectors. They knew many of the employees who created the art for View-Masters, that took the photos for View-Masters, and they have one of the most impressive collections of materials that are View-Master related. I'm going to turn it over to Wolfgang, and he'll start with a presentation of his.
Alrighty. Anyway, I'm Wolfgang Sell, and I'm here in the green shirt. We have Marianne. We've been hosting this little View-Master meeting since the NSA ISU Atlanta in 1995. So this is the 26th year that we've been doing the View-Master meeting at the NSA. So I'm tired of talking. We got to get somebody else to take this over at some point. Today, what I want to do, I've made a little show for you that I hope you like. It's about some of the View-Master art with a little tribute to Mary Lewis. I'll play that for you first, and then we'll go into a like standard question and answer type thing, or if somebody wants to say something. I do have some anaglyph images in here, so if you have your red and cyan glasses handy, whenever they're anaglyph, I have a little pair of anaglyph glasses next to the image or below the image, so you'll know when to look at them with that. So anyway, let me see if I can get this working, and we'll get this started. And this Welcome to the NSA Virtual 3D-Con 2021. You are watching the View-Master Special Interest Group meeting. And to start it off, I'm going to show you a little show I made here. Hopefully you'll like it. Here we have an image of View-Master artist Mary Lewis. I'm sorry to say we lost her in May of this year. She was the last living of the figure artists, so they are now all gone. Mary was a good friend. We talked 3 or 4 times a year on the phone, and I've known her since the 90s, and she was a fantastic lady, a true artist. Even at 94 years old, she was working on a granite sculpture of Mount St. Helens. I don't know if she ever got to finish that. Here is the packet that Mary is best known for, the little yellow dinosaur, B605. She not only did the sculptures for this packet, but she also wrote the story. which is amazing. View-Master did not have a whole lot of stories that they wrote. They usually used other people's fairy tales. On the left, we have the packet cover. On the right, we have the original storyboard image that was done for the scene that was used inside, and it turned out so well they used it on the cover. Here we see an anaglyph of the scene you saw before there. Every time I have the little anaglyph glasses on the side, you'll be able to view these as an anaglyph image. I did them in half color because a lot of them do have red in them, so that was the best way to do it. Here we have an image of Mary working on some of the dinosaurs. She's got the Triceratops already pretty much done, and she's working on the T-Rex. Here we have the green brothers of the little yellow dinosaur being carried off for somebody's lunch, I'm afraid to say. This is the original storyboard. And this here is the final figure that Mary did. If you note the eggshells on the bottom, that's a full-size egg. This fella here is about 14 inches tall, so it's a very big figure. View-Master was always in a rush to have the artists get done with their work. They wanted to publish as many packets as possible. So whatever you didn't see in the shots, if it wasn't needed, it wasn't finished. So here is the underside of that guy. Again, here is the finished figure and the original image from the packet. Again, an anaglyph. Here is Mary working on the main image of the little yellow dinosaur. The flowers that she's got there are plastic flowers they got from a hobby shop. The figure is very large. It's about 16 or 17 inches tall total. So here is the front of the little yellow dinosaur from that scene. And here you see the backside. And you can tell there's a huge difference in the amount of work that went into that side. Here is the final image taken directly from the packet, so you get an idea. In this scene, we have the storyboard on the left and the finalized image from the reel on the right. This is where the T-Rex marches through the nest to start with, killing off some of the little yellow dinosaur's brothers. I think he was the only one in the nest that survived. Here we see Mary working on two of her dinosaurs. The Triceratops is already done, and the other one is still in the sculpting process without paint yet. Mary was also well known for the religious packets. This is Moses and the Plagues of Egypt, B853. She was responsible for just about all the artwork in this one. On the left we have her original storyboard image, and on the right is the finished image from the packet, and as you can see they stuck pretty close to that one. Here is another original storyboard image that Mary did of the plague of the animals. And here you see the dead camel. He's about 11 inches long. Here is the final image from the packet showing the dead camel in the front there. So again, you get an idea of the size of the sets. They were quite large. Here we have a storyboard image from the Plague of the Frogs. Mary loved frogs. But here are two of the frogs' heads that Mary sculpted. Again, on the back side, they weren't needed to be finished, so they're just plain. Here is the finished image from the packet, and the two frogs coming out of the bottom left there, and one climbing into the pot and the one coming out of the pot are the heads that you saw before there. Another one of Mary's packets was B82, Jesus Christ. Here is one of the original images that she sculpted of young Jesus. He's been beat up a bit. This was the original scene in the packet. As you can see, he was wearing a red cloak and he had his finger up in the air. Here he is again, later from the backside. And if you notice, his finger is broken off there. And if you look real close here, young Jesus got demoted to be a disciple in this image. He's in the front there and his finger was sticking up too far, so since they reused as many of the figures as possible in different ways, they just broke that part off. And he was also used a second time in one of the other images. You can barely see him through a doorway in the back. So they used the same figure 3 times. Here we have Jesus saving Peter, where he's pulling him out of the water in the center. And then we have several of the disciple heads. Those are all sculpted by Mary and used in the packet. Here is the image with Peter being pulled out of the water. I believe the other head that wasn't Peter is the one third back in the boat there. Mary also did the story of in the beginning, the creation with Adam and Eve. Here is the villain from that packet. This is the infamous snake with the apple in his mouth. Here is the snake telling Eve, "It's okay, go eat the apple, you'll enjoy it." So Eve ate the apple and the snake has been broken at this point. They just broke off the pieces and kind of refitted it. It's the same snake. And Eve is laying down there saying, "Come on, Adam, it's a good apple. Go ahead and eat it." And you all know what happened after that. Okay, for the second little section here, we're going to talk about the art of freelance illustrator Richard Wiley. This is thank you to my good friend Eddie Bowers. He found these images. There was a lot of artwork involved in creating View-Masters, not just for the packets themselves or whatever's involved with the packets, but also for the advertising and so on. I think it is an 85% possibility that this is a self-portrait of Richard Wiley that we're seeing here on the left. The way that worked is he would take a photograph of a rough set that he had in mind. Then he would do a pencil drawing like this, which is fairly close. I mean, he obviously had the kids, but he basically had the Santa there. I think the Santa might have been one of his kids dressed up. And here is the final artwork. And then this was used in this poster for View-Master. Here is another one. His artwork is on the left, and we see the ad it was used in on the right. Here is a photo of, I believe, his daughter that he used as a reference photo. We don't have the original artwork on this one, but obviously this is the photo that I used to make the image on the right there, which I'm sure every one of us has seen and loves. Yeah, this one's quite interesting. He took 2 images of himself with his family for reference, and he liked the lady and the boy in the first one, and then he liked himself and I guess his daughter. And here we have the final artwork that includes the 2 versions of the photograph melded into one. This one was used on several realists. Here is an image of the realist and the way it was issued by View-Master. Again, we have a photo here as reference, and on the right we have the finished advertising. This one was also used in a poster for the stereo stories. View-Master did reuse quite a bit of their artwork in various ways whenever possible, all to save money, of course. Everybody does that. Here we have an image of his wife, and he just kind of directed her how he wanted her to stand, and she's just holding a rod there. And if you look at the finished ad that it was put into, he just added the display rack and the other people into it. And it's amazing what a good artist can do with just some basic information. Here's another one of his images. I'm not sure where this one was used. Obviously, it was a Christmas ad of some sort. Here we have the lady holding the viewer with the family in the background. I know you've all seen this one in several different places. The next slide, I will show you the main place it was used. This is a 22-inch reel that the stores displayed, and there you see the lady and the family prominently right in the middle. As you've seen from the preceding images, Richard Wiley was one of their go-to artists for advertising. I'm sure there are lots of other drawings that he did for View-Master over the years. Thanks to Eddie Bowers, we now know who this unsung hero was. Information like this is not available anywhere, so it's just extremely lucky to even find something like this. That's all I've got for you this time, and we'll see you back in the live session here in a second. Okay, I don't know, hopefully you like that. It's hard to come up with something. I've tried all kinds of different things over the years, and it's getting harder to come up with something new that I haven't done before. So if anybody has any particular questions they'd like to ask or anything we can help them with, type it into the chat there and we'll try to answer it for you. So do we have any questions? I'm not sure I can dance anymore. I'm too old for that.
Thanks for all your work putting that video together. That's some intriguing stuff. There was a question actually earlier about what the material of the figures by Mary.
She used unfired clay and Sculpey. The later versions were made out of Sculpey, and the earlier ones were like a clay, and they would just dry it. You wouldn't actually fire it, because technically all they needed it for was a photo or two, and then they were kind of useless. In fact, little tidbit of View-Master history. Mary was working there, and they were taking almost a year to make a packet. That's how long it took to make the artwork for the 21 scenes. And they'd photograph, and by the time they got it out, it took almost a year. Bob Johnson was the creative director at the time, and everybody got along pretty well with him. Bob retired, and they got a new fella. I think Pers Kroll. I think his name was Pers Kroll, and he gave the artist an ultimatum. You had 3 months to finish a packet. And Mary Lewis said, "No, I'm an artist. I won't do that." And then she left. The rest of them kind of hung on for a little while, but it was never the same after that. The quality, other than Joe Liptak was amazing. I mean, he could make a figure in 25 minutes. That man was an absolute phenomenon. But anyway, when Pers Kroll took over, he wanted to make sure that they were going to follow his instructions. And his instructions from corporate was use a broom to sweep it clean. And they put a dumpster at the bottom of the building. The creative department where all the figures were stored was on the second floor. And 3/4 of the figures they had went out the window into the dumpster. And being Sculpey and unfired clay, all you had was pieces at the bottom. So I'd say a good 80% or more of their artwork was lost at that point.
All right, so there's a couple.
But I digress.
No, you answered some of the questions that are coming through in the chat. So, do you own the original art? Who has the artwork that you just showed?
The Mary Lewis stuff that I showed is pretty much mine. Those were gifts from Mary. We got along really, really well, and she liked us a lot, so she gave us a lot of her figures and the storyboards. The images I showed of Richard Wiley, Eddie Bowers found on the internet and downloaded them. I'm not sure who has the originals of that, but he was a big help to View-Master that nobody had ever heard of till Eddie found this. So, to keep them from getting lost, I thought we should do a little something here, and at least it'll be out there for a little while.
There's a question asking about the camera setup that was used to photograph 3D images of models like that.
They used a medium format or sometimes a large format, even with a rack over system. And they would move not only the camera, they would also move a figure or something in the scene itself. And who was it? Yeah, Cliff Bond was the one that did most of the tabletop shots, and he got really good at it. He knew exactly what he could move, and then what they did is the medium or large format. All View-Masters are taken in a larger format. Even the scenics, they're at least 35 millimeter. Most of them are medium format. And then those are rephotographed on the movie film, and those are actually put into the reels. So the actual View-Master reels are already a second generation. They're one down from the original. And just in case anybody cares, the actual View-Master scene is 10 millimeters by 11 millimeters. So extremely small.
I think it might actually be good to open this up as more of a discussion. So if people have something that they'd like to say, go to the reaction button at the bottom and click to raise your hand, and then we'll unmute and open your camera up, and we can, rather than just reading questions from the chat, it might be good to actually have some conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw there was a question from Valerie. Why don't we see Valerie? Would you like to turn on your camera, and we'll bring you into the spotlight.
Oh, there is a question that I got from, they're asking where Wolfgang is located, and looking at the images in in the back of you, you have quite the collection.
We got a few things.
Yeah. Well, our book, it's available online from several places, and a few websites sell it. We sell them as well. We still have some. We're in Mainville, Ohio. I mean, if anybody's ever down here near Cincinnati, I'm always willing to have people stop by and see the collection.
We give tours.
Yeah, we give tours. Yeah, and we don't charge much.
I have to say your background is better than any virtual background I've ever seen. So very nice.
So
Well, I had a nice
brought in,
virtual background made, but I turned it off because Marianne would have been blocked out. So I didn't want her to be visible.
I've brought in Jana and the Bowers and Schatzbergers. Maybe if you want to unmute yourself.
So please, if you have anything you're curious about or have questions, just let us know.
Hi, I got a question about the, I suppose I know the answer already, but any recognition from View-Master about the clay artist? Is there anything on the packet that says anything about the artist at all?
Nope, absolutely nothing. The artists didn't get credit at all. The photographers didn't get credit. It's kind of a guess your best. The artists, I can pretty much recognize the work of most of them. But there was never really much credit given.
Is there a good resource, like a book that I can go to see what artists did what reel?
That's in our book,
Okay,
or View-Master Memories book. We have a list of the ones we know of.
it was what, View-Master Memories?
View-Master Memories, it's called, yeah. It's a
Okay.
whole history of the company up to about the year 2000.
We sell them, just send us an email,
Okay, great.
or you can
Thank
get it from Amazon. So.
I was just gonna jump in because somebody had a question about Richard Wiley and who has the originals. It's actually his son that has the originals, and he posted them on the internet. And he posted a bunch of things that were not View-Master related as well. A lot of children's books that he illustrated for, but there was obviously a significant part of View-Master, and my head just exploded. I just couldn't believe it. The frustrating thing is I've reached out to him and he's never responded to me. So I wanted to find out more detail and if there's more things that he had. But so, you know, all I know is it's just a one-way communication. What he put out there is all I know about it. But I do know he has all those originals and all the, you know, the artwork and the photos and all that stuff.
Well, thank you for getting it, Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie, if you hadn't found those, we wouldn't even know about the man. So great job on that.
Valerie, if you wanted to pop in.
There's a question from Dan Shelley. Dan, did you want to turn your camera on? Oh, you don't have a camera. Okay. Dan wants to know, he says, switching subject, in pictures on Facebook last week, he saw an Epcot viewer. He wanted to know if you could show that and any other variants.
Oh, the Epcot viewer is just the Model 11 painted in silver. Oh, Lord.
I think it's actually silver plastic, not just painted.
Yeah, silver plastic. It's just it's like a dipped. It's not metallic at all. Marianne's trying to get the case open. We have these ancient cases that have these glass doors that weigh 100 pounds each.
Too short, too.
We have a few questions coming over from YouTube viewers as well.
Too short, too.
Okay. Anyway, if you can see this is the Epcot viewer in the packaging here. And it's just a standard Model 11, and it's been it's like a silver gray almost.
Manufactured.
And they're made in Belgium. And they're hard to find now.
Also, other than that version that was sold at Epcot, that model wasn't sold in the USA.
No,
No,
So it was
I
a
think
little,
I think I have my mic on. Can you hear me now?
yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
we can hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah, sorry for that delay. I was curious, did they ever add a wire armature into some of the characters so they could maybe bend the arms or the legs to get a few different poses out of it?
yes, they did. The Curious George figures are like that. They're movable.
they're not clear.
And then Joe Liptek actually he actually made one for TrueView of a little black Sambo, and on the Tiger he made interchangeable heads, where he could change bodies and heads to match whatever he was trying to do. So it was always something to try to save time. Yes.
We have some questions.
But
coming over
I
from-
should add one thing real quick. In the early days, they made a figure for each pose. There were no movements whatsoever. So those were all solid figures. It was just later on. I think Joe was the first one that actually came up with that.
Okay, let me ask a couple of the questions that are posted on the YouTube chat. First, we have a question from Steve Kosarev. He wants to know, what was your most interesting find?
Goodness.
Chuck's- yeah, Chuck's,
That's hard. We've gotten so much great stuff over the years from a whole lot of the View-Master employees. The most interesting find, my personal favorite, was from Dave Hitchcock. They had all the prototype cameras, and they were going to go in the trash, and Dave took them home, and I gave him a giant amount of money, and now I own them all. There's quite a few of them. Grab the camera X1 right there, sweetie. Yeah. I have personal camera number X1. It is the handmade prototype.
And this is a company bowling shirt.
This is a company bowling shirt from creative director Bob Johnson. So we didn't even have their underwear if they would have let us have it.
If it said View-Master or Sawyer's, yeah. Okay, where's that?
Well,
X1 is
another question from YouTube is how many reels do you actually have in your collection?
We don't count anymore. 40, 50,000 maybe. I don't know. That's conservative. Then personal reels, we have thousands. This is the original handmade prototype camera X1. It's got a black on the top. It just says shift on the bottom. Everything on here is completely hand milled. There's nothing stamped. This is all handmade pieces on this one. So that's probably my favorite item in the entire collection. Then Shelley wants to know if we have one of the garden sprayer reels. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we could have had a garden.
Could have had a garden sprayer too, but that was kind of a little too far afield.
Let's
how
see,
about
Valerie, your hand is up again. Did you have another question, Valerie?
Yes, I
You got to unmute yourself.
You double clicked and you're off again.
Thank you. Yes. You had mentioned that the artist's work went out the window. That was tragic to hear. But if they wanted to take more home, were they allowed to, or were there restrictions on what they could take home with them?
There were restrictions, but basically what we ended up with was kind of snuck out of the building at night when nobody was looking, kind of a thing. So,
Joe took a lot.
and Joe took a lot home. But tragically, Joe's house burnt down and he pretty much lost all his. So most of those are gone now. I mean, Eric has some in the 3D space that Joe sent over there, and we have a few of his figures. I do have Huckleberry Hound's spaceship, which is my favorite one of his.
Yeah, as Wolfgang just mentioned, we do have a few of the Joe Liptak figures at the 3D Space Museum. We have a Fred Flintstone and a Barney Rubble with a dinosaur, and a couple of elephants from the Jungle Book, some Cinderella characters, and some ducks from The Ugly Duckling.
The ducks are my favorite.
Yeah, the ducks are actually kind of fun. There's a note with them that I guess Joe Liptak wrote, saying that if you look at the duck from the right angle, you can actually see that it was sculpted onto a light bulb.
Here's a question from the chat. So Alan Woods says, some years ago I found fewer scenic photographs and too many cartoons and models. Attractions like national parks used to sell reels until they didn't, but you could still find a plethora of cartoon reels. Why is that?
Well, quite honestly, the cartoon reels became the big sellers. That's what kept View-Master going. Originally, they were sold in souvenir shops, souvenirs of all the locations. And that died down quite a bit as photography improved and people took their own photos. They were no longer buying the souvenirs. And, you know, when they came out with the movies and the cartoons, I mean, you know, Batman and even Roy Rogers was their biggest all-time seller as far as the reels went. And that's why you find them so often, because they just sold more of them. You have to remember that View-Master made the reels basically to make money. And when you need to make money, you make whatever sells the best. And right now, as far as I know, there is nothing being made. Even Basic Fun has pretty much stopped everything. The only official View-Master product from Fisher Price is one of the little miniature viewers, which they call the world's smallest View-Master. That's the only thing out there right now. If you come to any of the conventions in person, there's always thousands of reels there, so you can pretty much find anything you're looking for.
Here's that world.
Looks like Eric has one of the.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the reason why you find more cartoons, because they just sold better.
And then back in the chat, when they were doing one reel per year, is that per artist? And how many artists were normally on staff?
No, it wasn't one really. It was an entire packet, which is 3 reels. So it'd be 21 scenes. And you have to remember these scenes were, you know, some of them were 3 feet wide and 3 feet deep. So there was a lot involved in making those. And sometimes they would have one artist doing almost the whole thing, and sometimes there'd be 3 or 4 of them working on the same project, all depending on what they were working on. Yeah, like the little yellow dinosaur on the side that's finished there. Mary said she took a month to put all the little circles on them using a little back of a pin that she had specially carved out. So they weren't working very fast. So. Dave Starkman, you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering if there's any, what you might, I think, like on a video, what they call an Easter egg, you know, some hidden little item that an artist slipped into to the scene. Or my favorite thing, I'm sure it's not really slipped in surreptitiously, as on the Sam Sawyer, on the Sam Space set. where the little camera that he's holding is actually a little tiny 3D camera. And I like on the Mouseketeers reel where Jimmy Dodd is carrying a Viewmaster personal camera. But
Mhm.
did any of the artists ever slip in, some little signature item that would identify them, but that nobody would really notice and it would get by?
Not that I know of, honestly.
Uh-huh.
If they did, it's hidden to this day.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, each one had their own style. You can kind of recognize it, but
Yeah.
I don't know of any. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And we met everyone pretty much of the artists except Florence. Florence was already dead, but we met all the other ones, and none of them ever mentioned anything special. The only thing we heard a lot was from Frank the Sodge that he was always fighting with the artists because he was into scale modeling and the artists were using perspective, and they had constant fights over who was making what size. And Frank the Sodge did all the like the scaffoldings and stuff for the space packets, and he built all the gantries and that kind of thing. That was his thing. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, he did all the woodwork on that, and then the artist would fill it in. But as far as an actual Easter egg type thing, can't think of anything.
There's a question from over on YouTube. They're asking about a Cheap Trick Viewmaster. Was that
Yes.
actually produced?
Yes, it was. I think I saw one a couple of minutes ago when I was looking here. Let's see if I thought there was one in here. Yeah. There you go, right there. Not a big seller because they put it in this special 3-pack they came out with leftovers. So, but it's definitely made. They also made Thriller. There were test reels of Smooth Criminal and the Victory Tour. I think Victory Tour might have been issued to a fan club overseas in a limited amount. The Smooth Criminal, I don't think was ever issued.
There was a Kiss.
Oh,
reel, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a Kiss packet of 3 reels, and then there's a long Kiss packet, which is like a test packet. That just sold recently for $1,000, which I find absolutely unbelievable. But I guess somebody had to have it. Somebody mentioned the Bonanza reel there in a question I saw pop up. Yes, it was very controversial. Every one of the cast had their middle finger out of the pocket and the rest of the hand was in there. So whether they gave millions of people the finger with nobody looking. And Viewmaster did not catch that, and they actually printed it, which is very surprising. This is the Kiss packet that goes for $1,000. There's 21 scenes in there. Expensive packet.
Wow.
And what would you say are some of the most rare reels that exist?
Well, beneath the 12-mile reef, there's one copy known in the movie preview reels, which I have in the show that I made that'll be played tomorrow. The Robe, there are 2 sets known. I have a set, and the other set Sheldon had, and so far going through Sheldon's stuff, they haven't found those 2. So at this point, there's 1 set known. There are 3 test reels of the Wells Fargo TV show with Dale Robertson, if anybody remembers that. That was not produced. There was test reels of a TV show called Primus. I forget who was in it. I think it had something to do with diving. That was not produced. They did subjects like pond life they were thinking of doing in the science series. There's a couple reels of all kinds of weird things in water from that. Let's see, what else? Yeah, they were going to do the Coast Guard Academy. That was shelved. Their test reels of that. Let's see, there's a couple other ones I was thinking of. It's hell getting old. Stuff slips your mind so easily. I guess some of the Tomy reels are very, very hard to find. They made one of Ultraman. I think I've seen 3 copies of that ever. Some of the Disney packets in the 50, they issued as a 1 reel and a 2 reel in a special folding packet. Those things are almost impossible to find. So there's all kinds of super rare reels. I guess probably the rarest.
There's the JFK reel.
Yeah, but it's rare, but that was actually produced. They're out there, and there's a lot of Kennedy collectors, and they just get grabbed up. I guess the rarest reel I've got, I have a personal reel that was taken at William Gruber's funeral by Dave Hitchcock, and shows the where they mounted his casts of his boots on top of Mount Hood for his funeral. That's got to be the rarest reel I have, I think. My favorite go-to viewer, somebody just said, that would be the Model D. I use the LED bulb that George Themelis sells. Gives you a very nice bright light. I like that. I take a D battery adapter that holds 2 of the AA's. It cuts the weight down tremendously, and they last forever with the LED bulb. So that's the viewer I use.
I'd love to hear what other people what viewers other people are using. Anyone else have a favorite viewer they'd like to talk about?
For personal reels, which are original reels, my old reels that are all on Kodachrome, I like using John Dukes made a viewer that we just call the Dukes viewer that has, I think it's 12 power magnification, individually screwing acromats, and it makes the View-Master image relatively larger in size than a stereo realist image in a red button viewer. But viewing commercial reels, it's too much magnification because they're just not as sharp.
Right.
So the Model D is my main go-to viewer as well, with the LED bulb in it. I'll have to look into the battery thing you just talked about. I'm still putting D batteries in it.
Oh, it cuts the weight in half. It's well worth it. And you can buy them on Amazon or eBay, and you get like 8 of them for like $8 or something like that.
The adapter?
Yeah, they're real cheap.
So it puts 2 AA's in a thing the size of a
D. It's the shape of a D, and then you put the batteries inside that, and then it just replaces the D batteries. I don't know. Have I got any in there? Here, hand it to me.
Well, if you had 2 in each, that would be too many volts.
I have one right here.
No, you the way you put them in, you run them in not parallel. You run them in like a series, so it's still 1.5 volts.
Oh,
it doesn't really hurt it, and the LED bulbs can take it with no problem. And get the one in the other room.
Well, I see what Steve's holding up.
Steve's holding up. I have 2 of those. I don't like them.
I do.
They're extremely heavy. They're hard to use. The reels don't go in and out very smoothly. I don't know.
They're my favorite viewer.
And they're very expensive.
Well, okay. Everybody has their own.
They have a coated lens. That's what I really like. The magnification.
Yeah.
I found the Duke's viewer is a little too magnified. This is a little less. And then
Yeah.
I have a battery attachment.
Hang on 1 second here.
Uh,
Grab something here.
But this one, what we View-Master likes. I sold a lot to what's the guy's name? Has interocular adjustment.
This is what the battery adapter looks like. And you just put 2 batteries in there going the same direction.
Can you hold it up again? Can I see the end of
Yeah.
it? So are the 2 side by side in there?
Yeah, they're side by side the same way, same direction.
Uh-huh.
Here, let me see if I can get this thing open. I got a little clip here though.
That's okay. I get the
There's a little
point.
clip on the end.
Got it.
So you just put 2 in like that, and it cuts the weight down to about half of what the other ones are.
I
They
look
work
into
quite
that.
well.
By the way, since I mentioned it, so here's what the Duke's viewer looks like.
Mhm.
He's taken a black, I forgot the model now, the really common model, and chopped off the lens board, added a light on the back. I mean, there's a red button to light it up. And the battery's in a separate pack on a wire. So it's a little inconvenient in that way, but it makes the viewer itself a lot lighter. And it was,
It's a very nice viewer. It works quite well. However, honestly, I must say, if you have a mint reel with a beautiful, clear image with no defects, it's great.
yeah,
If you
that's
have
the
a
thing.
piece of dirt, if you have a piece of dirt on the image, it looks like a boulder
Well,
with
sure.
that magnification.
It's very high magnification, but on the on personal Kodachrome reels, I like using it.
Yeah.
Wolfgang, is this a Duke's too?
I think that's
That
the
looks more like a molar viewer actually. That looks similar.
I
to
love this
molar
viewer.
viewer.
I don't remember who made it. I thought it was Duke's.
Yeah, there was a
I have
fellow
a
in
Duke's
Germany.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's possible. That's a little different than the ones I've got.
Well,
Mr.
it reminds me
Molar
of
actually
this
took
one.
binoculars.
It
Right,
reminds-
that's a molar viewer there. Yeah.
This one was made by a guy in Spain.
Oh, was it? Okay, somebody else is
'Cause
copying
we,
his
we bought
stuff.
it directly from him at a convention, so I know that for sure. And it's just individual.
Oh yeah,
focusing
I remember
lenses.
him. Yeah.
And the quality
have-
isn't as good as Molar's. I mean, the lenses aren't as good, but it's not bad.
So this is a molar? Has
It's very possible.
It's
No,
molar.
the interocular. No, the interocular is different. That could be Van Ekeren made some too.
That's
at
it.
one
It's
point.
Van Ekeren.
Yeah.
So that could have been a Van Ekeren.
Yeah.
There
This
are
is my
several people
favorite
that have made those. That's a
There's
good viewer. Yeah.
Well,
There's a comment from over on YouTube. Dan Howland says that he has a Model E and he adapted it by putting his prescription lenses inside. So it only works for him.
Well, that's a good way to do it.
Tell them about this one. Here's where you got 'em.
My friend Brad Goulet has gone into 3D printing, and he is making these. It's a little cheap viewer he sells you can take with you, and you just pull the pin out, and the reel comes out. You can stick them in your pocket. So he calls himself Dr. VM, and he's got like 6 or 7 3D printers going now. So you contact him, or if you're in Europe, I think Ronald Schellenkamp sells them as well. He's got fairly decent lens. His idea was to have something you could take with you somewhere to look at reels if you went to a show or something.
Are they glass lenses?
No, they're plastic lenses.
And is the magnification like the same as a like a Model
It's
C?
pretty much a standard viewer magnification, maybe a tiny bit more. But they're fairly reasonably priced. He makes those.
Whatever color you want.
Eric gave me one of the View-Master copy devices once. I showed him that, and he's improved that in 6 different ways, and he's making those fairly reasonable as well. He does a lot of 3D printing at pretty reasonable costs, I think.
Does he have a website?
He's done he's on mostly on Facebook on the View-Master groups. On the View-Master Club is the best place to reach him if you're on Facebook. But I don't have his email right off the bat.
We got about a minute left before this session comes to a close, and we were thinking it might be fun. I'm going to turn off the spotlights. It might be fun if we get everyone in the group who's got a View-Master to hold them all up so that we can do a screen grab of everybody with View-Masters.
Get the
So let's see what I'm going to do here. Let me just.
People can unmute if they want and just say what it is they have. We can have a cacophony.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll start. I have it's a Model C with a light unit attached to the back, and this one is actually wired, so I have it plugged in. But I use this one a lot while I'm sitting here on the couch at night.
I have a Mesoscope 5 made by Meopta, and I love it because it is the individual lenses that focus, and it's my baby.
You were talking before about doing prescription lenses, and I did exactly that. I had my eye doctor cut out lenses to fit in the very front of my D.
Very cool.
I got a combo here, telescope and projector. I haven't tried it out yet, but I've seen several versions of this online, and I'm wondering if View-Master made it, or was it farmed out and
Yeah.
As far as I know, View-Master made the first version, but I think they had it made in China, and it didn't go over well. And I think there's like 14 different Chinese ripoffs of it now.
Thanks.
Let's see. Hey, Valerie, you've got your hand raised again. Did you want to say something? How about Scott Gilbert and Jennifer Wood? I see you've got your hand raised. You need to unmute.
You're muted. You got to unmute.
We're here.
There you go. There you go.
There we go.
There you
Well,
go.
I
There you
want
go.
to show you the lenses first. And then I wanted to ask you, you guys have been collecting for so long and you have so much that it must be next to impossible to find anything new or interesting at this point, but you must, right? I mean, what's like the latest really?
Well, quite honestly, I can honestly say View-Master never made more than 3 of anything alike.
Yeah.
So if you collect variations, there's never an end to it.
Sure. But I mean,
every time they updated something, they changed something. So it's a never ending thing.
but you're probably
This is
not
our
finding
newest-
something new at an antique mall or anything, are you?
Antique mall don't even have antiques anymore.
That's true.
I mean, they have stuff that's half as old as I am. So, this is our latest acquisition.
Sure.
See, there's always something new.
That's true.
Image 3D is basically doing real well and making lots of great reels. So anybody wants to have their own images put in something, they do a great job of it.
Well, I would like to plug in that my Caverns of Sonora View-Master reels are still available on the internet.
The only Viewmaster reels available on the internet or secondary market, basically. You've got, eBay, and there are some people on Amazon, Etsy that sell them as well, but it's all secondary market stuff. Right now, there's nothing in production.
Somebody's got a Tweety viewer.
Oh yeah, Tweety viewer.
Oh, yeah. So let's end with the.
That looks like Carol
hands
already.
we've got raised. Yeah, Carol and Eddie, what have you got there?
Tweety belongs to Bob.
This is Bob's.
This is Bob's.
We're at Bob's
Tweety.
Oh,
house.
this is Bob's. Okay.
Bob's.
Hi, Bob.
Schatzberger. So he said that this, in the package especially, this looks super rare.
And then this is our,
yes.
we made our own reel set recently through Image 3D from our Disneyland trip.
For our anniversary.
So this is super rare.
That's super rare.
Good luck finding it.
One of a kind.
That's right here.
And Valerie, what did you want to share?
Oh, well, I just wanted to comment that on a previous conference, I bought a lot of reels from Wolfgang. And I loved it. They were mostly fairy tales and animation. And what I loved was looking through them. And when they had a special effect, they would use retinal rivalry, where they would have one eye would have like a lightning scratch and the other eye wouldn't have it. So when you viewed it, it would jiggle. And I just loved that detail that they were, really bringing in animation tricks and techniques to add a little bit of animation to it.
I like your Poe and your Minion.
Thank you.
So
somebody was asking about this. Somebody was asking if there's a list of all the reels. The closest thing to it is all those books Harry Kleinsmead did, and I think those have about 95% of them in there. There are still some that he missed in there, if you count test reels and really unusual early stuff. They were going to make an Autobahn set of birds when they first started. That's a blue ring reel. There are a lot of blue ring advertising reels. One advertising set even came out with a Model A viewer of Erie gas pumps. They were the company that made all the gas pumps, and each scene is a different gas station brand with cars and stuff from the 40s, which are pretty amazing reels. I had one extra one time, and I think I got like $200 for the thing. It's crazy.
Hey, Wolfgang.
But as
looks
far
like Brad Goulet just joined us here. So let's see if
He
he
can tell us
okay.
about his 3D printing.
say a word or two.
I think I'm there.
I showed him your viewer. Tell him about it.
I'm trying. Can you see me?
Yeah.
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 Well, I was trying to look for one before I got put on screen here. I think I've got them all out at the moment. Not the best I can ask is just kind of the one that you got visible is the one probably one I have on hand at the moment. I try to kind of custom make them as I go. That way I don't have any kind of just sitting around and being.
Yeah.
This is kind of my little operation behind me that I use.
Wow. And Brad, if someone wants to order one from you, how do they get in touch?
Well, the best probably way to get a hold of me is just through Facebook. I'm mostly in like the View-Master Collectors and the View-Master Club. It's probably about my only couple that I'm in, mostly post in. You're more than welcome to look me up on Facebook, or you can, jot down my email, Goulet Brad, GOULET BRAD @hotmail.com.
Great. Thanks a lot, Brad.
And I'll do my best to reply to everybody as quick as possible.
He also makes some great drink coasters.
Yeah. Now those I do have on hand because I use those all the time.
Sawyer's. They got GAF.
Yeah. I had one of the members that I'm in the group with kind of give me an idea on the GAF one, since when you find them, they're always red shifted, Then I also View-Master packet storage container.
Oh yeah, he makes packet boxes.
Packet boxes. Yeah, he makes all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, these ones here. I put View-Master on them. Or none of these are trademark marked by Viewmaster, so they're all made by me. They'll all hold. I designed them for the 5mm packet sleeves. These will hold about 75 packets with the 5mm sleeves, probably more with just the thin sleeves.
He's keeping Viewmaster alive.
Uh-huh.
It's like Rich in Image 3D is keeping it alive for reals.
It's alive.
Little boxes that I make. Pretty much identical to the originals. And then for little dividers, I make little dividers for them as well. And Wolfgang's probably got one on hand, my little personal reel mounts that I make. He gave me the idea for that.
Yeah. Let me get it over.
Another thing, like on the Model Ds, most of the time you're missing the diffuser. I make mine. I can make those. And slip right in. They don't do too bad for
stuff.
Yeah, not too bad. They serve their purpose. They're not designed to be the best or anything, but they serve their purpose. Yeah, that's a fun little thing that I like making that he's bringing up. I like those. That's what started the 3D printing ordeal.
Actually, this one's nice because it's got a built-in battery with the light. And Brad also moves the image window either to the side or the center, depending on your phone. And then you can photograph the reels.
Yeah.
And then this is something I talked them into making. It's a personal reel holder. You put your blank in here and you mount this to the table. And then when you're mounting your chips, you just spin the reel, no longer laying it down and trying to figure out where the holes are.
Yeah,
this is an amazing item. Mm-hmm.
Great stuff. Thanks for popping in, Brad. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for Carl Wilson for giving me links. I was trying my hardest to get in here real quick, and I was trying to make it.
No problem, Brad.
Great.
If I could add oh, sorry.
What was it, David?
Just about that last item that holds the personal reel. Viewmaster used to have a reel mounting service, and Susan and I took that over for a number of years. And one of the things we acquired in the process was this personal cutter, and this addition to it is basically that same idea to hold the reel while you were in the mounting process, and it's just a spring-loaded clip to hold the reel. And so your idea there has now been updated to what Brad's making here. Basically the same thing.
Brad's has a magnet on it, which works really well.
Right.
It's actually magnetic. You can just
but it's very handy to be able to have something to hold the reel like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to bring this session to an end. I'll end it with there's one more question in the chat. Bob McAfee would like to know, Wolfgang, do you only collect, or have you shot any of your own reels, and how do you catalog everything in your collection?
Marianne catalogs it. She does all the typing. I type at about 2 words an hour. It's my speed. We keep it on Excel. We use an Excel list. I do shoot my own reels. I've actually shot, several Viewmaster packets. I did the U.S. Air Force Museum. I did 2 packets for them. NSA, I've done reels for. I had 6 reels that I did for our first book, which was Viewmaster Viewers. There's 6 reels in the back of that. So I've done some actual Viewmaster reels that were sold even at the Air Force Museum, which is nice. So that was kind of fun to shoot. And it's really nice when you get to roll airplane engines out of the way so you can get a better shot of the airplane.
That was a combination.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much, Wolfgang and Marianne, for allowing us to get a little peek into your home collection there, and for hosting this Viewmaster special interest group here. The next special interest group will be starting in about 15 minutes. You'll need to go back to the main website to get the link for the next Zoom, and that will be all about virtual reality. So we hope to see you there. Thanks, everyone. We'll be ending this this Zoom session, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.